Hello and welcome, Mark here, and in this episode we're going to knit up Zigzag Stitch. Just get it out here, just have a look. This is my sample that I knitted up, and it does create a little bit of a zigzag. Also looks good that way as well. So if you decide that you want to make it this way, you have to make it this way, and have it something that you lay that way, that's fine too. Doesn't have a major zigzag to me. It has more like a wave than a zigzag, but it is a zigzag stitch. And there's that many zigzag stitches out there that I'm just calling this a zigzag stitch. Now the effect is worked by crossing two stitches. You start by crossing two right to get this to lean right, and then two left to get them to move to the left. And as you can see, it's on a reverse stocking stitch back. That's probably why the stitches really stand out. The pattern also requires you to use a cable needle. Now this is actually a cable needle. It was bought as a cable needle, but because it's metal, it can slide off quite easily. So sometimes I use these, and I bought these as knitting needles, very small. Look at that, they're almost the same length. So I'll be using one of those. I will show you how to do it with a cable needle as well as without. That is because we're only crossing two stitches, and sometimes using the cable needle for just two stitches, it can slow you down, and because it's only two stitches, it is easy to do without the cable needle. So I will show you both ways for that. And the pattern also has you starting on row 1 with crossing stitches, and sometimes that can be awkward on a cast on edge, because as you know, a cast on edge can be a little tight, a bit awkward to work into. So sometimes I like to work a row straight before I start working the pattern. Well, this pattern is a multiple of 4 plus 2, and it's worked over a 12 row repeat. Now don't panic, I will talk you through them. I'm going to be using this white, so it shows up a bit more. So this is a DK weight yarn, and I will be using a number 4mm needle. I don't know if you can see that. Might be visible. You may also require scissors, a tape measure for if you're working a specific length or height, and of course darning needles to sew in those ends when you're done. Right, so with all that said, let's get crafting, shall we? I also forgot a second sample I knitted up, and I decided to do that in 2 colours to see how those stitches would look. Doesn't that look effective? Of course, I won't be working the 2 colours today, but if you want me to do a tutorial on this, just let me know in the description, sorry, the comment boxes down below. Now I said it's got some stitches on the needle already here, and I said it's a multiple of 4 plus 2, and I have 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, so I've got 3 lots of 4 there, but I still need to add the 2. Oops. So just add the 2 there. So now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 stitches on that needle. I'll just put the wool into my bucket there so it doesn't fly off the table, which it often does. And because the pattern has you working straight away as a pattern, I'm going to purl the row first, and then we'll get on to the pattern. So sometimes I call this row as row 0 or a setup row, and I'm just going to purl all the stitches just to make it easy for doing those cross stitches. So when I knit this up, I will be back with you to row 1. In the equipment, I forgot to mention as well, because this is a 12th row, you may need a stitch counter, something like this. And so we'll start with row 1, and we'll get on with that now. I don't know if you can see that. The screen against the screen, it's a bit awkward, I think. So let's have a look. And row 1, as you're beginning with purl 3, and then it says CR 2R, which is cross to right. So we'll do that first. So it's purl 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to cross these 2 stitches. We need to bring that one over that one. So to do it with a cable needle, bring that needle to the front there because you want that out of the way. You slide 1 stitch onto the cable needle and hold it at the back, and then we're going to knit that stitch, and then we're going to purl the stitch off the cable needle. Look at that, I'm getting other yarn. The cable needles can slow you down, especially when it's only 1 stitch. And then I give it a tug to just tighten that up. And then it says the pattern repeat now is purl 2, cross 2, or I should say cross 2 right. So again, we need to take the first stitch onto the cable needle, hold it at the back, and then knit the stitch off the knitting needle, and then bring the yarn to the front to purl the stitch on the cable needle. In that way. Tug to tighten it up, and then pattern repeat again, purl 2, and now we're crossing 2 again. We're almost at the end of the row, aren't we? So again, we're crossing 2 right, so we need this stitch at the back. We knit that stitch off the knitting needle, off your left hand needle, then we bring the yarn to the front to purl the stitch off the cable needle. And of course I'm getting all tangled up. And then we purl that last stitch. And that is row 1. We've already started crossing stitches. You won't see it just yet until you've done a bit more. Right. Row 2. Don't know if you can see that. Row 2. I'm hoping you can. We start the row with a knit 2. And then the pattern repeat is purl 1, knit 3, 2 and 3, trying to make sure the yarn doesn't split, and then again repeat purl 1, and then knit 3, and you're doing those 3 knit stitches from the row before. That looks a bit awkward because it's a cross stitch, but it is a knit. So you knit that one, and the stitch that you knitted on the first side row becomes a purl on the wrong side row, and then you knit. And that is the end of row 2. And as you can see, you should already be seeing those stitches that's crossed over. Okay, we move on now. Row 3. And now we're going to do it without using the cable needle. So we start with a purl 2. 1 and 2. And now we're going to cross 2. And because it's a knit, get that yarn to the back, go into that second stitch and knit it, bring that yarn out, then bring the yarn to the front and purl the first stitch. And there you are, you have now just crossed 2 stitches. Just took that off a bit, and then we purl 2. 1 and 2. And I'm sorry, that's the pattern repeat for this row as well. Cross 2 right and purl 2 and repeat to the end of the row. So again, knit that stitch, you're going right through to the other side, you knit it as though it's the first stitch, but you don't. You knit it, leave it on there, bring that loop up, so you can bring the yarn to the front, purl the first stitch, and then take both of those stitches off the needle, and then purl 2. 1 and 2. So just look at that one more time there. Knit the first stitch, bring the yarn forward to purl the first stitch, take them off, just give that a little tug just to tidy it up, and then purl the last 2 stitches. And that is how you can do a quick 2-stitch crossover without using a cable needle. And that is of course doing it cross 2 right. Now we're moving on to row 4. Wrong side rows are basically knit the knit and purl the purl. So if you look at this, you now can see that it has 1, 2, 3 knit stitches, and this one will be a purl. 1, 2, 3 knit stitches and a purl, and it just looks a bit odd because it's stretched because it's crossed. So just a little bit of way of seeing how you can read your knitting. But yeah, row 4 has you begin with a knit 3, purl 1, repeat until your last 2 stitches. So it's knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and as you see you have 2 stitches left, so you can't do a knit 3, but you just do a knit 2 to finish the row. And that is the end of row 4. Bring this up to you, let's see if you see this. Row 5 now, I'm not sure if that's seeable. And now we're on the right side row again, so we're crossing stitches, and this time we only begin with a purl 1. If you notice, we're moving that knit stitch over 1 stitch each time. So we purl 1, and then it's cross 2 right, purl 2, repeat. So we're going to cross 2 right, go again. Sometimes the yarn does split. Knit the second stitch first, and then purl the first stitch, and then take them off. Little tug, just tighten that purl up a little bit, and then purl 2. And repeat, cross 2 right, tighten it up, and then purl 2. One last time. Of course your rows will be more than this. You might have a lot more stitches on. Purl 2. And then because you have one stitch left as well, this becomes one of your plus stitches, and it's just purl 1. And we turn, and now we're going to work row 6. Which is the wrong side row, and again you just knit your knits and purl your purls, and as you can see we have 4 knit stitches to begin with now, and the pattern confirms it. Yeah, we have knit 4, purl 1, 3 and 4, and then we purl 1. Then we repeat knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and then you'll have 1 stitch left, which is just a knit. And that's the last row there for doing the cross to right. Now the other 6 rows now, we're going to be working them to the left this time, and that's where it's going to look a little bit different. And of course that starts with row 7. And like I did with the first one down here, I'm going to show you using a cable needle for cross to L, which is cross to left. And we start the row with a purl 1, because that's all we've got there, purl 1. And then we're going to now do the cross to left, purl 2, repeat to the last stitch, and then purl 1. So let's just have a look at how we do a cross to left. So we can leave this needle at the back, because now, because we're going to the left, we need the stitch at the front. So we're going to take that first stitch off there, leave it at the front, bring that yarn back to the back again, purl the stitch off the knitting needle, take the yarn to the back, knit the stitch off the cable needle, and there you go. And then you purl 2. 1, 2. And we just repeat that again, because now we have to cross these again. So put your right needle at the back there, pick your cable needle up, slip 1 stitch, and this is your knit stitch, and leave it at the front of the work. The yarn, I've left it at the front there, purl the stitch off the left hand needle, and sometimes if you find it awkward you can always put those stitches back onto your needle and then knit it that way. Purl 2. So one last time with the cable needle on there, oops, hold it at the front, purl a stitch off your left hand needle, take the yarn to the back because you need to knit this stitch, and you can knit it straight off this, or you can put it onto your left hand needle and knit it if you find that easier. And then you have purl 2 to end your repeat, and I see you've got 1 left, so you just purl that one. And as you can see, it's already moving to the left. Move that over there a moment. Now we're going to go on to row 8, which is a wrong side row course, and this is repeat row 4. So repeating row 4 is knit 3, purl 1 to the last 2 stitches and knit them. So you can see that there you go. 1, 2 and 3 and purl. 1, 2 and 3 and purl. So you're just reading your knitting. So you knit 3 and purl 1, and you just repeat that to the last 2 stitches and it's knit 2. So I'll meet back up with you when I've done that. Just coming to the end of the row, we knit the 2 stitches and there we go. And now you can see it even more now. It's really coming over now, isn't it? Right. Row 9, we're getting there. Row 9 is another cross to the left, but this time we're going to do it without the cable needle. But don't panic, there's the cable needle, just to move it to one side. This will look a bit scary, but trust me, it's fine. We start the row with a purl 2. And then the pattern repeat is cross to the left, purl 2, cross to the left, purl 2. So the second stitch is what we need to work first before we work the first one. And how we're going to do that? We can't just purl in front of it, you'll end up with a line across it. So we have to go into the back and grab that stitch like you're going to purl it from the back, and then slide that knit stitch off and then back on to the left needle. Now, so I told you it might look a bit scary there. And then purl 1, bring the yarn to the front and knit 1. And then we end the repeat with a purl 2. So let's just repeat that again, just so you know. Going from the back this time, is catching the yarn there. Going to the back, slide that stitch off, hold your thumb there so you don't lose that loop, and place it back on the left needle. Place your left needle into the back of the loop there, and you could purl it straight away, but I've left the yarn at the back. I need it at the front to purl. So purl, then knit. Purl 2. We'll do it again, into from the back. Slide that stitch off. Put it back on the needle. It doesn't give you much room when you do it this way, but it is easier than messing about with a cable needle all the time. And what if you've forgotten it? And of course, the end of the repeat, purl 2. Where have you gone out somewhere and you've forgotten your purl needle, your cable needle? How are you going to do your cabling if you haven't got a cable needle? And if it's only 2 stitches, it's that easy. Now, we're going to be going on to row 10, which is just a wrong side row. And row 10 is repeating row 2. So you knit 2, purl 1, knit 3, repeat to the end of the row. So we'll just start there, just to prove that. So of course, can't get over the yarn there. Knit 2, and then we repeat. The pattern repeat now is purl 1, knit 3, and repeat that to the end of the row. Purl 1, knit 3, right to the end of the row. So I'll meet back up with you when we're ready to start row 11. Right, row 11, almost there, 2 more rows to go. Ooh. row 11 is purl 3, cross to right, cross to left. So remember, we've got to go into the back. Yeah, I've already got my yarn there this time. Purl that one, knit the next one. Now we do a pattern repeat now of purl 2, and then cross to left. So remember, in through the back, put that stitch back on there because I've left the yarn at the wrong side there. So purl 1, and then knit 1, and that's your 2 crossed stitches. And then again, purl 2, cross to left. Hold that stitch there so you don't lose it, and put the stitches back onto your left needle and purl the first one, knit the second one, and then you've only got one stitch left, and it's a purl because we're working on a reverse stocking stitch. There you go. And then of course the 12th row of the repeat. There you go, the 12th row of the repeat is of course, again, knitting the knits, purling the purls, but for the patterns, if you want to know the pattern, it's knit 1, purl 1, and you're on to the back again, and then it's knit 3, purl 1, repeat. Purl 1, repeat, until you get to your last 4 stitches, and you just knit all those. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And there you go. Whew, that was a long stretch that was, wasn't it? And as you can see, you cross to right have moved your stitches to the right, and you cross to the left have moved your stitches to the left. So it does create a somewhat little zigzag pattern. Just move the cable needle out the way, and just keep repeating those over and over. I'll just grab the one that I repeated the pattern twice. As you can see, it's about halfway there, and just keep repeating those 12 rows until your desired height of your pattern and how wide you want it. And suggestions for using this stitch, I would sort hats, mittens, springless mittens, or maybe even a household product like cushion covers, because you can also house the stitch that way or house the stitch that way. So there we go. That is a zigzag stitch, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it didn't go on too long for you. And if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to give me that thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Until next time, here on Marks Make Stitches. Bye.